So today's race was alongside Mount Fuji, which you will see off to the right in the background there. It was a pretty small race. There were only 17 people in ME3 today. That was number 12 in the second row. And it was a pretty hard start. There weren't a lot of technical features today. It's sort of a standard grass course. But the usual fight for early position. I didn't think I was going to jump out in front of many people, but I also didn't want to fall behind, so I just sort of stayed with the pack here. I actually thought about pulling out of the race today. Last week I fell just towards the end of the race at Makuhari, and I think I bruised my rib. It wasn't that bad, and I thought it was getting better during the week, but it just wasn't healed yet by the start today. In the pre-ride, I really felt it. So I was sort of jostling around on the rough grass. In the race itself, I think the adrenaline made me not notice it as much. But I definitely did hold back a little bit. Didn't quite go all out and was a little more cautious on the turns. Not like I would have been a top 5 finisher or anything if I was perfectly healthy, but definitely in the back of my mind, taking things a little more cautiously today. Though even though it was a pretty simple course, really just this packed grass with some dirt, not quite mud, but a little bit wet dirt in the turns in some areas. And it wasn't that hilly, but there were these sort of rolling up and down segments all through the course. So, aside from the usual just accelerating out of turns, they'd often be heading uphill. So a little downhill there. But coming back up to the right here, it's another uphill. So you have just enough time to sort of catch your breath on the downhill before you need to really put in a bit of effort to go up again. And that was just constant throughout the whole course. So it was just really sort of spiking uneven efforts. I think looking at the power data at the end of the race, I was close to 20% of the time I think I was in an anaerobic zone. So really just a lot of intense efforts. So this upper section here, or inner section, or however you want to call it, was a little wetter because it was in the shade. And I don't think there's been much rain lately, but probably some dew overnight that didn't have a chance to dry off like the rest of the course. Decided to go with the Baby Linus tires today, just in case some of that sort of light mud or thick dirt was going to stay lodged in the tires at all. Thought this would do a better job of clearing that out and giving better traction. So the two of us here are one turn behind that cluster of, I don't know, at least 5 riders or so. Starting to spread out a little bit. It didn't seem like they were out of reach yet, but the way things were starting to go, it looked like they were the top few people would probably start to pull ahead. Well, they've already started to pull ahead, but keep increasing their lead. They're probably still around 12th or so here. It's another sort of rolling straightaway here. We had a little bit of an uphill, a little bit of a decline, right into this turn. And then back into a sort of a slight incline. So easily up over 400 watts, and I guess I put in an effort to get by him here. I think in retrospect I probably would have tried to avoid some of those surges and just tried for a more steady approach to the race. The first lap definitely ended up being, I think, my fastest, but also my sort of my spikiest in power. And I may have had more energy left in the rest of the race without those spikes. Although who knows how it would impact my overall position. Maybe I'd be no better off. So I'll just speed the video up a little bit here until I jump up to the next person. With a smaller field today, definitely found myself all alone at points. Here we go. A couple of people caught up in passing here. So we're approaching the end of the lap here. I think the leader was about 8 minutes and 30 seconds on the first lap, so they're already at the finish line, and we still have a few turns to go, and then the final straightaway. So we're still a ways back. So the lap counter on the right is saying that the first lap was about 9 minutes and 5 seconds, but the official data said 9 minutes and just about 23 seconds. So the start was a little bit before the actual finish line. So I think that the official time must have included that opening straightaway, which was about 15 seconds or so. So the leader, who I said finished in 8 minutes and 33 seconds, was probably closer to 8:15 or 8:20. So a good 45 seconds ahead of me. The leader in the first lap ended up winning the race. It was amazingly consistent. So 8:33 in the first lap, 8:32 on the second lap, and 8:30 on the third lap. Second place was also pretty consistent. He was a little slower on the first lap, maybe 20 seconds slower. but about the same speed as the first place finisher on the second and third lap. So there were actually a lot more than 17 people on the course. There were 17 in ME3, which started first. And I think about 3 under 17 riders started together with us with numbers 100, 101, and 102. And then a minute after, there were some Masters, I think just Masters categories, but a few different Masters age groups that started. I think starting with number 30, yeah, so 33 there must be the leader of the first Masters group, and 32 behind him. So they've already made up a minute on me, and they probably have another minute to go before the leader of ME3. I'm not sure how they finished, if they, how much more ground they made up, how many other people they passed. So I pulled up the entry list while watching the video here. It looks like numbers 30 through 40 are the over 50 category. Then numbers 45 to 55 are the over 55 group. Then 60 to 68 is the over 60 group. 73 to 75 is the over 65 group. And then there was one rider with number 70 who's over 70 in his own group. So those are 2 more riders in the over 50 category. So this lap is definitely slower than the first. It felt a little bit like a recovery lap. Not exactly recovery, but clearly not as hard as the first lap. Already approaching the 9-minute mark. Again, the official data was, let's see, 9:51, which is about 30 seconds slower than the first lap. Here's the leader of the over 60 group. So let's see, number 45, 46. Anyway, one of the over 55 must be the leader of that category. Couldn't make out his number. Speed things up again here until I'm back with some other riders. 61. So that's another over 60 rider. Pretty amazing that the level of fitness that a lot of these guys have. Not that I'm an elite racer or anything, but that's several people in their 50s and 60s who have easily passed me. Looks like I was able to overtake him again here. So even though we weren't competing, there's a little bit of motivation trying to hold off racers who've got 20 years on you. I didn't think there was any chance of catching up to anyone in my category ahead of me at this point. But I wasn't sure. I think maybe one or two of those guys going around the next couple of corners over there might have been ME3. But there's only about a minute left, so probably not enough room to catch up. So it's like this is a little faster than the second lap, but not as fast as the first lap. Heart rate was creeping up a little bit by this point, but at 171 too, that's the highest it's been. So I had a little bit of energy for a little sprint here. I actually thought that was the finish line for a minute. I realized it was up here. Didn't want someone to catch me at the last minute, so I put in a second little effort there to get across the finish line. That's it. I'm not sure I'll call this one a fun race, given my body's condition. But still, it was a nice setting, nice day out, and hopefully I'll have a couple of weeks to recuperate before the next race and try again.